everyone, and welcome back to the Calvin Tobin Show. I am your host, Calvin Tobin. Today we have a lot to talk about, so let's get right into it. All right, the Tampa Bay Lightning returned home last night after a 5-game, 8-day road trip to play the Minnesota Wild. And in this game, the Minnesota Wild are wrapping up a 4-game road trip as well. Now, how did this game go down? Well, before the game even started, the Tampa Bay Lightning honored their superstar player, Steven Stamkos, for hitting 500 goals in his career. And because of Steven Stamkos hitting that milestone, he is now the third active NHL player in the league today that has 500 goals or more. The other two players that have 500 or more are Sidney Crosby and Alex Ovechkin. Now, before this game got started as well, these teams went into this game hoping to end their 2-game losing streak as they are both coming off 2 straight losses. Now, Tampa was the one that was able to end the 2-game losing streak, beating the Minnesota Wild 4-2, thus far having the Wild lose now 3 straight games in a row. And because of Tampa getting the victory last night, they became the 4th team in the NHL to reach the 30-win mark this season. Now, how did this game go down? Well, this game started off in the first period with both teams playing pretty open, trying to adjust to the flow of the game. And Tampa was the one that got going first, playing a lot of time in Minnesota's offensive zone. And the way that Minnesota was able to slow this down was keeping them in check with their defense. And the way they were able to do it was they were in Tampa's head the whole night. And it was a very good chunk of the night where Tampa was just furious with Minnesota because Tampa ended up committing 23 total penalty minutes. Now, the scoring didn't get going until the second period, and in that second period, that's where the offensive showdown got going because 4 total goals were scored in that period, 2 by each side, and thanks to Tampa's Corey Perry tipping game, it was completely flawless, and he was the reason that the Tampa Bay Lightning started their scoring entourage. And here's the thing. In that second period, this is where the penalty committing went crazy for both sides of the puck because 20 total minutes were committed in that period of penalties. 20 minutes, the whole period full of minutes was all penalties. It was insane for how much they were committing, but it was mostly because of Tampa because they were they were going a little bit too far with some of the penalties. But here's the thing. How this game finished was it was as tough as a finish as it could have been because both sides were skating across the entire ice, going from end to end, shooting the puck as many times as possible. And the defense got in there as well because they were smacking each other and tossing each other around, along with keeping the puck out of the net with some block shots. But all in all, Tampa was the one that ended up with the victory, and how they were able to do that is the man of the night, Steven Stamkos, ended up being able to get the game-winning goal that made the score 3-2, and then Nikita Kucherov ended up finishing Minnesota with an empty netter, finishing the game with a score of 4-2. Now, the man of the NBA has been unreal for the past couple of seasons. And who is that, you may ask? Well, his name is Nikola Jokic, and he is about to be the man of the NBA potentially for 3 straight seasons and potentially about to get a 3rd straight MVP because what he is doing is he is following in Russell Westbrook's footsteps because he is averaging a triple-double right now. He's averaging 25 points per game, 11 rebounds per game, and is just barely touching 10 assists with 9.9 assists per game. And what And what happened last night is he ended up playing the New Orleans Pelicans, and he ended up making a game-winning floater shot that ended up beating the New Orleans Pelicans with a score of 99-98. And how this game went down, well, these two were going at it, going shot for shot, and it started off pretty good with both of them scoring 25 plus points, with them being neck and neck with the score. And Jokic ended up leading the way for the Denver Nuggets, scoring 11 points. But that second quarter, this is when the Denver Nuggets started to really take over and show why that they are the best team in the West, having a record of 34-14. And right now, they are half a game away from being out of first place in the whole NBA. Because right now, the Boston Celtics have just lost 2 in a row. And right now, they are 35-14. And now, as I was saying, when that second quarter got going, this is why the Nuggets are the best team in the West, and the main reason is because of that 51% shooting from the field. The Nuggets just can't be stopped, and because of what transpired in that second quarter, this is where most of the time Denver starts to run away with leads and run away with games because of that shooting efficiency, and it happens almost all the time now with them. They had a little bit of a slip up losing to Oklahoma City, but they're back on track. And yes, it was a close game of having a score of 99-98, but I'll explain on how this game was close. That second quarter, the Denver Nuggets jumped out to a 16-point lead and had the lead basically the entire way and for the rest of the game once they got that lead, and led by as many as 19 before going into halftime. But the New Orleans Pelicans, how they were able to get back in this game is when that fourth quarter hit, this is where they started to really catch up, because for about a quarter and a half, those Nuggets, they were up by 15 to 20 points, and they were keeping it there. But for the rest of that second half, and mostly in that fourth quarter, the Pelicans defense stepped up in a big way, allowing only 36 points throughout the entire second half for the Denver Nuggets. And their passing efficiency got a little bit better with it, because that's how they were able to get fast break points and get as many quick layups as possible. And that's what they were focused on to finish the game. Now, towards the end of the game, this is where the Pelicans defense really started to step it up, because they ended up stopping the Denver Nuggets scoring and making a complete dead stop in the final 5 minutes of the game. And with that, they didn't allow 1 point. The final 5 minutes, for 5 straight minutes, Denver didn't score 1 point. And the Pelicans were able to catch up, and they were within the range for a while to be able to take the lead right there. And they eventually got that lead and got the score to be 98-97 at the very end of the game. But Nikola Jokic ended up hitting that floater and got the Denver Nuggets to get their 34th win of the season. And here's the thing. When it comes to winning teams, it's hard to tell who is truly the good team in the Big 12 Conference, because what has transpired over the last month in the Big 12 Conference, it is hard to tell on who is actually a good team and where they need to land, because all kinds of because 6 of those teams are ranked and they're all facing each other for a straight month. So Iowa State's winning some games, Baylor's winning some games, Kansas, TCU, Kansas State. It's all completely mixed up. So it's really hard to tell at this point on who the best team is. And the latest Big 12 victory was the number 12 Iowa State Cyclones playing the number 5 Kansas State Wildcats, and the Iowa State Cyclones ended up coming out with the victory 80-76. But here's the thing. This game was an epic game all the way through, and it got better as the game went along. And the reason that is because this game was straight fast break points. Like at least one player almost every other minute was running down the court for a quick pass to get a shot, or running down the entire court to get the shot himself. And these two, the Cyclones and the Wildcats, are some of the top teams in the whole country when it comes to passing, because both of these guys are averaging 16, 17 assists a game. So this game was bound to be quick passing, fast break points, and continuous, consistent scoring all night long. And it was because of that offensive dominance. The Wildcats dominated the first half, but they were better in the second half. But the second half completely belonged to the Cyclones. And other than watching all this offensive showdown and power go down, the defense ended up stepping in up in some way, in some shape or form in that game as well. Because we had Oshuni have some nice blocks, and then we had Marquise Noel steal the ball left and right. And that's what kept this game from being so close and from being far apart at the same time. Because in that second half, Iowa State had the lead and they never gave it back. Kansas State had the chance on multiple occasions to take the lead. They just never got it and kept it when it was theirs. But because Iowa State, they went on multiple scoring runs, and when it came to the very end of the game, it was straight fouls the entire time, and that's how this game was won, because it was straight free throws for the last 60 seconds to 2 minutes of the game. And with all that fouling, sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. And this time, it did not work out for Kansas State, and they ended up losing to the Iowa State Cyclones, who came out on top, beating them 80-76. All right, that's the end of the Calvin Tobin Show. Please subscribe to my channel at Calvin Tobin Show so you don't miss out on any sports media. And please follow me on Instagram at Calvin Tobin Show so you don't miss out on any sports news whatsoever. And I'm out.